Hi everyone, welcome to All Four Queens 555. Hope everyone's doing well and you've enjoyed your day. Quite late for me to be recording. I normally do it quite earlier than this, but I was watching quite a few things and I just wanted to get my head around stuff. So I moved from the room because there was a lot of dark, dense energy and there was a lot of things being put outside. Lots of things like dirt and stuff, which obviously they did in my house as well in the garden. So I moved from that room and I moved to one down the bottom, which was 111, believe it or not. So I thought that was a sign, a synchronicity. And so I'm in this one. Still a lot of negative energy, but I found that when they condense it over a period of time, there's a lot being thrown in, and you see the birds flying around as well. So but let me introduce you myself. So this is a spiritual channel all about healing, warfare and awakening. When you awaken, you tend to hit into quite a bit of warfare, purely because you're open and you're aware of what's around you and what's been going on. And I'm sure if you've seen some of my videos, you'll see some of the things that I've experienced. A lot of bullying and a lot of abuse, because people have had secrets that they believe were secrets, but we all know, if you believe in God, that there are never any secrets. God holds the secrets, and obviously from a spiritual perspective, we all have an Akashic record, so everything sits in the Akashic records anyway. So if you understand tarot, that's how we read the cards, because it's in the records. Now the only part of that is you shouldn't be accessing anyone's Akashic record unless you've got permission from their energy. When I read stuff, if it's aligned to my energy, then I can read it. But if you're going in and just tapping into somebody else's Akashic record, you shouldn't be doing that, because that breaks spiritual law. So just the point of that. I just want to talk a little bit today on trauma bonding, because I've done a bit on relationships, and one of the things that you'll recognise as we go through my channel is I try and mix a little bit of things. But the reason why I do it is because when it all comes together, it shows how and why spiritual warfare happens, especially in my case. So a trauma bonding is a strong, unhealthy emotional tie between a person and the person that hurts them. It happens through repeated cycles of abuse, tension and sudden kindness. Now we say abuse, but obviously we talk about cycles where, karmic cycles. So sometimes people can be in a relationship, break up, get back with the same person, but the behaviour doesn't change, and then they end up being in a trauma bond. I also, from my own a little bit of research, I also believe that a trauma bond as well is where two people can get together and both of them are unhealed, and when they get together and they're unhealed, they have triggers that they haven't actually recognised, so they can be quite explosive. And if that is the case, then obviously it can be considered to be quite toxic. Now it can also be that you could have the narcissist and empath dynamic, which obviously the empath tries to over please and the narcissist obviously just takes, and then you get those dynamics as well. So it's something to be very mindful of in how the relationship works. And that's not saying it can't work, but obviously when you go back to the love languages, it's understanding how we all love or receive as well, because obviously we don't know. Excuse the noise, that's probably confirmation. I'll take it as confirmation. Abuse cycle. Love bombing. The relationship starts with a lot of fake love, praise and intense attention. The tension and abuse. The partner starts to criticise, control, to hurt you. So they start to look for things to pick on, basically. Remorse and reward. The abuser apologises, cries or gives gifts. Sorry, I can't even read my writing here. The abuser apologises, cries or gives gifts, making you feel safe again, only for the cycle to then turn again. As soon as they've got you back in the cycle, you'll then go back into that abusive cycle as well. Why is it Why is it hard to leave? The brain chemicals, the mix of fear and relief, creates a powerful chemical loop in the brain, much like an addiction. Hope for change. You hold on to the good moments and believe the person will go back to being sweet. Now, I think we've all been there in some cases, hoping that at some point someone's going to change. But I think as we've looked on my channel and we look at around all the other channels in terms of healing and self-help, you can't hope for change unless you get a change in behaviour. And that means looking at what it is that triggers you and the reason why you do the things that you do. And obviously then we go within and we look at that and we pour in self-love, or we go and seek external help and get that help that we need as well. Self-blame. You might think the abuse is your fault or that you asked for too much. Sometimes they make you feel like that. They can make you feel like you're asking for too much, and then you can start to feel it's your fault. The healing steps. Acknowledge the pattern, see the cycle for what it is instead of making excuses for the abuse, for the behaviour. Cut contact. Try to stay away from the person completely so your brain can reset. And then get support. Talk to professionals or a safe group to help rebuild your self-worth. Now, I'm going to add a little bit there. You can speak to family, and I'm not saying don't, but me personally, I would say try and get external support, because family are too emotionally involved if they know both of you, and then it would be very difficult for them to be objective personally. Now, I don't know if you've just heard that upstairs, the bang, bang, bang. I have somebody who follows me everywhere, as you know, and I was in the room down there and I moved from that room to this room and the person followed. So I'm recording it because that's what they do. They just follow me everywhere and they make a point of letting me know that they're upstairs. They click the kettle when I'm speaking, so obviously I move the kettle. And if you look on one of my earlier recordings where I think I was talking about trying to move somewhere else, and when I said someone was trying to force their way into my vessel, the kettle clicked at that point to sort of confirm that that's what they were trying to do. So if you check that out, you'll see on there, it's ever so surreal. So yeah, so trauma bonding. I also put on there addiction to the abusive cycle, and then I asked the question whether a soul tie and trauma bond were the same. And it says that the trauma bond is trauma bond, but the soul tie is a spiritual connection. Relatively can be the same in terms of behaviour, but the soul tie is a spiritual connection, and it could be that we have karma to clear or something from that particular connection, this lifetime or past lifetime. But obviously you'd know your own personal story. I hope that helps. I want to try and bring these things in as well, because they do become part of our spiritual awakening, especially when you look at twin flames as well. The dynamic there is so so unique. But one of the things that I looked at this morning on that about the trauma bonding was whether or not what it was, and some of it is just about the ego. Basically the one twin completely destroys the ego in the other one, and the other one teaches the other one not to be so giving. So, and then they go away, separate, and then they do the work on the things that they need to focus on and heal. So yeah, so I hope that helps. I'm going to send you so much love. I'm going to sign off, send you so much love and lots of healing. I need it. I've got so much energy being pulled at the minute on me. I can feel it everywhere. Part of it is some contracts that dissolve, and Carl Jung talks about that in terms of how the body responds to contracts that have been holding on to you forever, and they're now trying to dissipate and break away, because obviously we got moved away. And then there are others where people are constantly still trying to attach, because I got moved away from everyone. So that's pretty much the energy that I'm feeling, and I'm trying to just sort of like stabilise myself a little bit and hopefully get some grounding eventually. I might move tomorrow, I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Anyway, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later. Bye.